TBC News, our top stories. Police force vows for the digital transformation. Boosting export to avert dollar deficit effects. Good evening, I am Teddy Mparinyanga. You can also follow us live via YouTube channel TBC Online and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages at TBC Online. President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan has directed the police force in the country to work on the recommendations documented and given by Commission on Criminal Justice reforms and improve the processes involved in investigating to ensure timely prosecution of offenders. Here's the report by John Matthias, read by Faithan Gaga.
Earlier today in Dar es Salaam, the police officers and other government officials are here, delighted to attend this year's Senior Officers General Meeting. To grace the annual event, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan is here as the official guest of honor. The police march in parade to honor the day.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu, mbele yako ni gwaride rasmi lililoandaliwa kwa heshima yako.
The meeting emphasizes on the upcoming local government elections next year and how the duty of the police will be implemented to ensure peace and security.
Tunaelekea kwenye uchaguzi wa serikali za mitaa mwaka 2024.
We are heading to the local government elections of 2024 and the 2025 general elections. The police force is well coordinated to ensure peace and security in both elections. In this meeting, we are going to make comprehensive plans on the best way to supervise the elections.
Sisi katika mkoa wetu wa Dar es Salaam.
Dar es Salaam has 5,603 police officers. We have 128 police stations, which can be categorized as Class A, B, and outposting.
The Minister of Internal Affairs, Engineer Hamad Masauni, outlines technical advances that the police force continues to adopt.
Mifumo 13 ambayo imeibuliwa.
13 ICT technical systems have been created. You had good intention when you mentioned ICT systems.
Furthermore, President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan insists on timely investigation process by the police.
Kwa upande mwingine natambua jitihada za wizara.
I acknowledge the efforts of the Ministry of Internal Affairs for making legal and systemic reforms. The Police Force and Prison Service Commission, the Fire and Rescue Force, and the Tanzania Immigration Department. It is my belief that the reforms will smoothen the operations of the Commission. President Samia talks about effectiveness of community policing and crime prevention in the community in Tanzania.
Kuimarisha ushirikishwaji wa jamii kupitia falsafa ya polisi jamii.
Let us strengthen cooperation between society and the police force through the uses of community police, but also raising awareness about gender violence and child abuse.
The Minister of Finance, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, has urged the industrial producers to ensure that they produce products with international standards and quality so that they can increase exports, a move that will help the country deal with the shortage of dollars in the country. Rehema Swabili has more.
It is a discussion that brings together members of the Confederation of Tanzania Industries CTI and the Minister of Finance in Dar es Salaam to discuss ways to deal with the dollar deficit. Minister Mwigulu here notes that the challenge of the shortage of dollar is global, insisting that the country continues to take short-term and long-term measures to deal with the challenge, while the governor of the Bank of Tanzania, BOT, Emmanuel Tutuba, urged Tanzanians to stop hoarding dollars as the challenge of the shortage is temporary.
But we have told them seriously the central bank will keep intervening at least in the situation of emergency like this one, and yet we are looking for the injection in the economy, which will then restore the situation so that we leave the economy itself to regulate the supply of dollars in the economy through the usual forces of demand and supply, as it is the one which is guaranteed for the sustainability.
So you can see our inflation currently, because it's harvesting season, and since now most of the inflation abatement are taken under the food basket. Currently, we are seeing the inflation going down, but as well have seen our Tanzanian shillings has depreciated for around 10%.
To reduce the challenge, some CTI members urge the government to permit producers of the foreign parents' business to borrow dollars from those nations.
We do, and we acknowledge that the government is doing a lot to address the issue. We've also submitted, we discussed some of the proposals that we could embark on. For example, currency swaps. We talked about fiscal discipline.
The government has a lot of ambitions. It needs to invest in infrastructure. It has been doing. It's got some very, very large projects. Possibly, while the foreign exchange shortage or problems are there, maybe those projects can be slowed down unless they are being financed by long-term investment as well.
Get dollars in. Somebody like my company would need $400,000 a month. It's not huge. We get about $50,000. So we actually literally on our knees about to shut production because we can't get the imports.
Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema.
Thank you, Rehema Sababili. Now moving on to the next news. The Vice Chancellor of Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences, MUHAS, Professor Polinarika Muhabwa, says research studies from the university has helped to publish new findings and on advanced therapy for people living with sickle cell disease and may lead to revolutionary treatment for sickle cell disease. He made the revelation in Dar es Salaam during the launch of a blood donation drive program inaugurated at the university. Emmanuel Samuel reports.
According to different research findings, Tanzania is mentioned as the 4th country in Africa and the 5th in the world to have the most sickle cell patients.
Kulingana na tafiti ambayo tumefanya hapa Muhimbili.
According to the research we did here at MUHAS, we found that 11,000 children are born every year with sickle cell disease, so that makes Tanzania the 4th and the 5th in the world.
Tanzania kuwa nchi ya 4 Afrika lakini ya 5 duniani.
Professor Polinarika Muhabwa believes that blood donation drive program organized by the MUHAS in collaboration with the French Embassy and research programs is very critical in addressing the issue of sickle cell disease in Tanzania.
The program and our institution, we have made efforts to make sure that we are part of the strategies, but we are part of the discussion in trying to advance treatment for people who are living with sickle cell. So we are hoping to use today's event, also throughout the week, to advocate for inclusion of the exchange transfusion services, and specifically the manual exchange transfusion services to all national health insurance schemes.
Professor Emmanuel Balandia thanks the government of Tanzania through Ministry of Health for being forefront in supporting different programs provided by the university on helping the society, especially to people facing sickle cell challenges.
We partner with colleagues from Germany to do HLA typing for patients who need, who are possible candidates for bone marrow transplants. And we are very, very thankful to the government of France for training our colleagues in bone marrow transplantation. And the Ministry of Health is very supportive of these endeavors.
Representative of the French Embassy says they will continue to support Tanzania on health issues following the achievements reached in various research in sickle cell disease, while some other participants use the occasions to extend their gratitudes.
Partnering with Africa, and especially Tanzania, is a win-win situation for all of us. Thanks to this kind of partnership that we build results that benefit not only Tanzania, but also the whole of Africa.
I'd like to ask the public and all stakeholders out there, they can join hands in this program in order that to help the community of people who are living in sickle cell to push this thing in order to save their life.
500 units of blood are expected to be collected through this program, and the general public are invited to donate blood to save the people living with sickle cell disease. Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Thank you, Emmanuel Samuel. Now, moving on to the next news, African governments have been urged to integrate soil health scaling programs into all agricultural reforms, as healthy soil is the foundation for regenerative, climate-smart agriculture. The call has been made by the global research leader on soil and land health, Lane and Winowick, during Africa Food Systems Forum AGRF pre-event in Dar es Salaam, insisting that soil to be proving many key ecosystem services.
between 20 and 40% of the Earth's surface is degraded. That includes about 65% of agricultural land in Africa is currently degraded. Soil provides so many key ecosystem services, from carbon sequestration, nutrient cycling, biodiversity, water regulation. We must urgently invest in building healthy soil ecosystems. Key challenges include incentives for farmers to scale healthy soil practices. Our research shows that one practice, two practices are often not enough. We really need to invest in building healthy soil and integrating trees into farmland, reducing erosion, regenerating the soil, making sure that we're not just taking nutrients from the soil, but we're putting it back.
On the other hand, the Program Director on Sustainable Agri-Food Systems Program, Professor Said Snab from International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center, says for the Africa food systems to work efficiently, concerted efforts are needed to scientifically sustain soil health, while the Associate Program Director Africa of the Center, Pascual Marenya, calls on public and private education institutions to have a strategy to attract more young people into the soil science profession to nurture them for future sustainability.
Now that the foundation that we all walk on is soil health, and it's had new value chains, new opportunities. I think AGRF is making sure that youth, women, and this whole new generation of entrepreneurs, as we're seeing in Tanzania now, is coming to the fore. Innovation around M's, around mobile information, around markets, and around more farmer agency. I think I'm very excited in Africa that we're seeing entrepreneurship around soil health and new markets like for compost and new markets around value chains. I think we're seeing a lot of movement, back to the M's, around soil health in Africa.
I don't think we have enough experts. I think it is an area that requires more investment, and we know this, number one. Number two, I think there's been a lot of research for sure, but for us to go where we want to go, we need more scientists. We also need more extension people to come in. So so a lot of young people don't get into agricultural sciences. But I think if agricultural sciences are promoted as good careers, they used to be good careers. There's professors and all this, right? So that they have succeeded. So why not this generation also to succeed by getting into science, whether that's soil science, sciences of agriculture, and it is a rewarding career. You can become.
As Tanzania is hosting the Africa Food Systems Forum 2023, African countries have been urged to formulate policies which will attract large investments in vegetable and bean production so as to increase income of the farmers, increase employment opportunities, and boost nutrition. Speaking during a meeting organized by the World Vegetable Center in Dar es Salaam, vegetable and bean stakeholders say beans are a vital part of health diets, as well as in improving not only nutrition but also for income generation and employment creation, particularly for youth and women. Malio Chentra attended the event and has prepared the following report.
From different countries sitting tentatively at the ongoing discussion on the importance of vegetables and beans being inclusive in the African food system. Speaking to a Tbcnews reporter after the meeting, the Director General of World Vegetable Center, Marco Price, says African governments should come up with policies that will attract investors in vegetables and beans as one way of ensuring food security in Africa.
First of all, we need to really invest in awareness creation so that people realize the importance of eating vegetables and, of course, pulses, beans, because it's so important for your health. And also the awareness of doing that young. So we have to make sure that children have access to nutritious food. So we talked about the importance of incorporating vegetables and pulses in school meal programs. I think that is just essential, right? Current school meal programs often rely on only staples and some oil, right? How can we bring beans, how can we bring fresh vegetables into children's school meals is a very essential thing to do. That's just one step. But in general, I think I would like to see policymakers put a lot more emphasis on the production of greens and beans.
Furthermore, other members of the discussion added that education creating awareness to farmers and youth is a big player in the production and supply of vegetables and beans has been in a center stage.
Number one, we need to develop seeds, quality seeds that farmers want, but also highly nutritious, so that they can meet the consumer nutrition demand.
Farmers realizing that, hey, this is a cash crop. I can make money. She can make money with this, and she'll invest more in it. And both beans, of course, and vegetables are big wins from the standpoint of nutrition. But there is new data in Tanzania showing increased consumption of vegetables. That's wonderful news.
Downstream to the farmers, information about what is out there. What do these vegetables do for us as a people? We will grow them if they're doing well in our nutrition, but if they're going to make us money and trade within, it's 100%. So that information, how we do it is through demonstration, bringing the communities together through cooperatives, union associations, and seeing, farmers need to see, touch, and feel and taste. They don't know another language.
The African Food System Forum 2023 is projected to bring more investment, technology, and the market of food crops produced in the continent. Malio Cheto, TB News.
Thank you, Malio Cheto, for such an insightful report. And on to the next news. International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFDAD, Vice President, Department of Management Program, Donald Brown, calls on revised food production strategies that counterattack the effects of global warming. He made the call in Mwanza during the inspection of livestock and agriculture development projects that target to reverse land degradation trends and increase food production, security in degraded ecosystems in semi-arid areas of Tanzania. Moses Matthew has more details.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFDAD, has expressed its sincere to have been attracted by the best investment environment in the country and promised to increase investment in agriculture sector in order to improve food production. The IFDAD Vice President Management Program Department, Donald Brown, has revealed this in Magu district in Mwanza region during the inspection of livestock and agriculture development projects that targets to revising land degradation trend and increase food security in degraded ecosystem in semi-arid areas of Tanzania projects.
As you know, with the new president and her government, they're very keen to see lots of international investment in Tanzania, particularly in agriculture. Agriculture, as you know, is very important to Tanzania, very important so that people have food, but also important so people can sell. So IFDAD helps poor rural people to produce food, helps rural communities.
Brown, who is in the country to participate Africa Continent Food Systems Meeting Forum that will take place from 5 to 8 September this year, has insisted the importance of new revising food production system in order to meet food needs.
Climate change is real. Climate change is here. You can see it all around us, and we cannot carry on producing food in the way we have been producing it, because with climate change it is not sustainable. So we need to transform the systems of how we produce food.
The revising land degradation trends and increased food security in degraded ecosystems semi-arid areas of Tanzania projects that is implemented in 5 villages of Ngaya and Sukuma wards in Magu district of Mwanza region has already brought positive results after facilitated water obtainable for the respect of household, livestock and irrigation use.
Most farmers, they have been harvested 12 bags of paddy, but now they can harvest 18-25 bags per hectare. because they've been introducing this utilization of manure to their farm.
Apart from Magu district, the pilot project that is funded by IFDAD at a cost of 15.5 billion shillings is also implemented in the districts of Mkalama, Igunga, Kondoa and Michweni, Zanzibar.
Huu mradi ni mradi ambao umetoa mafanikio makubwa sio kwa Tanzania tu.
It is one of the projects that brought great success not only to Tanzania but also to other countries. We expect this project to serve as an example for others through various methods of harvesting, irrigation, and the best way to preserve forests.
Moses Matthew, TBC News, Mwanza.
As the Africa Food Systems Forum, AGRF, is expected to begin tomorrow in Dar es Salaam, the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, responsible for livestock, Dr. Daniel Mushi, says the government of Tanzania is prepared to capitalize on the upcoming Food Systems Forum to scale up food production and find new markets to export the surplus. He made the remarks in Dar es Salaam when we spoke to him in order to know how Tanzania will maximize on all opportunities that the AGRF meeting presents.
So we expect all the stakeholders responsible for food system in the country to take advantage of this particular event, which we do expect to have a number of advantages to our citizens, namely capital investment, capital attraction. We expect to have stakeholders who are going to bring in some capital that will actually be used to scale up the production in the country. We also expect to have new business opportunities in terms of markets. And we also, in that case, we expect our stakeholders or fellow citizens to take advantage of new market opportunities by interacting with the conference participants who are going to come in and show interest in, the business that our fellow citizens are actually involved into. We also expect to tap opportunities related to new technologies, because we know that with technology.
About 500 businessmen and investors, including Tanzanian government officials, local businessmen and Chinese companies, are expected to participate in the China-Tanzania Investment Forum and the Zhejiang Tanzania Trade and Investment Promotion Conference. The meeting is expected to be held from the 23rd to the 26th this month in Dar es Salaam. Here's a report prepared by Ismail Bugada and read to you by Faithan Gaga.
This was stated by the chairman of the Sino-Tan Industrial Association, Johnson Huang, when he met and held talks with journalists in Dar es Salaam. A delegation of approximately 100 representatives from China are expected to participate in the meeting, which will involve investors from the pharmaceutical, machinery and equipment, home product, equipment services, and other sectors.
The purpose of this forum is to establish links between the Chinese investment and the Tanzania companies, and also linking the two countries and the two markets, so that China and Tanzania can greatly interact and do more business in terms of investment and trade and other business.
China has been Tanzania's largest source of investment for many years and brought a large amount of investment to Tanzania and made a significant contribution to Tanzania's economy. China and Tanzania will take this investment forum as an opportunity to continue to carry forward our traditional friendship.
Investment forum as well. Great things to push the investment and trading and different business sectors.
The meeting is expected to be held on the 23rd to the 26th September this year in Dar es Salaam.
Cuba prepares to host the forthcoming G77 China Summit, which is scheduled to take place in the capital city of Havana from September 15th to 16th. The summit, which is to be attended by developing nations and will prominently address the theme, current challenges of development, the role of science, technology, and innovation. Cuba's ambassador to Tanzania, Yordanes de Spain Vera, outlines how important is the meeting in most of the developing countries when he spoke with our reporter Violet Mbaruku.
It is possible that many of you have not listened before about this important summit that will take place soon in Havana. That is why we hope that this conference will motivate you to take an interest in the media coverage of the summit and even to decide to participate in it.
Before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now have a look on today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news.
President William Ruto of Kenya says Africa has the resources needed to drive green growth. Speaking at the opening of the Africa Climate Summit, President Ruto says the continent's resources currently being used in developing green technologies can be the main source of revenue needed to drive green growth. He says if an inventory of the natural resources being used in the development of green technologies like electric cars and motorcycles whose batteries are made from nickel, cobalt and lithium were tabulated and each resource given its accrued value, the continent would finance its needs for green growth. Ruto urges African countries to have a paradigm shift in tackling climate change without the usual blame game of who polluted more. Sudan's top military general Abdel Fattah al-Burhan is in South Sudan for talks with its president. In his trip to Juba, al-Burhan is accompanied by a delegation which includes the foreign minister and the head of the General Intelligence Authority. Early in the almost 5-month war in Sudan, South Sudanese President Salva Kiir attempted to mediate between the warring generals as part of an initiative by the 8-member regional bloc IFDAD. This is Burhan's second trip abroad since the conflict war in his country started. The Sudanese leader met with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt last week. Egyptian authorities say the national carrier will resume direct flights to Sudan this week following high-profile talks between the Egyptian president and Sudan's military chief.
That was international news. Sports news up next. New Simba Sports Media and Communication Manager Ahmed Ali says he is confident that Simba FC will perform better in the Africa Football League as the team is composed of a quality squad ready for the competition. Speaking Dar es Salaam, Ali insists that with the squad and the quality of players are capable of beating any team in Africa.
Playing against Al Ahly, current African champions, the club which have more success than any club in Africa. This time we want to eliminate Al Ahly. We have won 2 times against Al Ahly here in Dar es Salaam.
Simba Sports Clubs host African champion Al Ahly in the opening match of Africa Football League at Benjamin Mkapa Stadium in Dar es Salaam on the 20th of October. And that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. On behalf of the whole team, I wish you a lovely, lovely night. I am Teddy Mparinyanga.